did that. I'll borrow, like if you take a line of credit on a house or whatever, borrow 150,000. I'll organize and build a full two-story, and I'll contract with everything if I can live in it for a reduced rent. Like that's what I'd have done that with my mom in the 70s. Because if you have a separate place at your parents' house and it's separate entrance,
That's what they do in Israel.
you don't need that. I don't need money. I
Our
don't want to
cousins,
see.
as soon as their kids got married, they
Yeah.
built an extra
Yeah.
floor,
Yeah.
2 floors on top of the house, and that's their apartment.
Yeah. This culture's crazy. I'm telling you, had I never added onto my property, I would have split it and divided it again.
Oh yeah.
I would have ADU'd it double and
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think Nellie was sad.
It's a serious issue. It's a serious
What?
issue.
Nellie was sad when I left. She loved.
Don't need them.
We don't need it.
Phil sounds okay, right?
Okay. I gotta clean this.
Guy from Riga, Latvia.
Of course.
Rosenthal. And Lynn Harrell in school, remember this guy in New York? Everybody went to him to get their violin adjusted.
This is the single hardest thing to do.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Lovely to see all of you here with us in our outdoor chapel to bid farewell to this Shabbat and to enter into the High Holydays season with this evening of Selichot. Great to know that there are so many of you with us as well from home online, helping to create Shabbat, Havdalah, and Selichot community. And so, those of you out there in TV land have to know that folks are scanning the hillside right now for the wildlife that is roaming the hills. What is it? Is it rabbits? That? Oh, there's a deer up there. The deer were... Oh, there we go. Hello. Do you see the... And there's another one coming. There's another two coming. Abigail, did they register? And they're not masked. And I have no proof of vaccination. If they can sing, they're welcome. Exactly. And they get spooked by us. It's actually very unusual. Oftentimes, if you're having Shabbat dinner on the promenade before we come into the outdoor chapel, they'll be roaming around on the hills a little bit. By the time we actually get close to the hill, they tend to kind of scurry away. They're a little frightened by us. But the reality is this last year and a half, where there have been so few people on the campus, they've just gotten bolder and bolder and bolder, which means they're eating all of the beautiful landscaping that your Leobeck Temple dollars at work. Feeding the deer. It's sustainable, sort of. In any case, they're beautiful to look at, and that was a nice little treat for those of us who are here in person.
Yes.
We are going to begin this evening of Selichot because Selichot is to take place on Saturday night. That means it's to take place on Motzei Shabbat, on the going out of Shabbat, on the conclusion of Shabbat, which means the very first matter of business for us tonight is the welcoming of the business of a new week. And so Havdalah, for those of you who are here with us in person, the prayer book, if you open up to pages 100, 101, and 102, you'll find all the words for all of the blessings of Havdalah. I'm used to having to kick those out to you because usually we're in a circle, arm in arm, pandemic doesn't make that the most advisable move. So instead, we're here as we are, and that means you have books in your hands. So that's something of a happy innovation. Means that you'll have the words in front of you. For folks who are joining us online, the online prayer book can be accessed at leobecktemple.org/live if you'd like to have the words in front of you this evening as well. We're on page 100, and you'll find not only the blessings for the symbols of Havdalah, but the other prayers that we will be singing as part of our Havdalah ritual on pages 101 and 102. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei mehorei ha'esh borei meorei ha'esh la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Hamavdil ben kodesh lechol Hamavdil ben kodesh lechol. Hamavdil ben kodesh lechol Chatotenu yimchol Zarenu v'chaspenu yarve kachol v'chakochavim v'alayla Shavuato, 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 a good week, a week of peace, may gladness reign joy increase. A good week, a week of peace. May gladness reign and joy increase. Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi, Bimera Beyamenu, Yavo Elenu, Mashiach ben David, Mashiach ben. Let's hear you sing it.
Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi.
Shavua Tov. A brief word before we launch into our liturgy for this evening. Something I was just thinking about as we were bidding farewell to this Shabbat. Raise your hand. I have a funny feeling what this is going to look like. Raise your hand if you've been with us at the very conclusion of Ne'ilah, of our Yom Kippur afternoon concluding service as we've ended the High Holyday season. Hands up for those who have been. David Lowe's been there. Counter Kate, she's been there. A lot of you, all of you, you've been there. Anybody who raised their hand can answer the question. How is it that the Yom Kippur day and therefore the High Holyday season comes to a conclusion? What's the last thing that we do? Havdalah. We make Havdalah to welcome in the new year and end the High Holyday season, and so bookends the ending of Shabbat to enter into the very beginning of this experience we're about to share with one another over the course of the next couple of weeks. And Havdalah once again will await us, and I know that so many of you as well on screen will be right back with us for that sacred transition as well. But welcome into the sacred space of the High Holyday season that we've awaited for so long, that visits us each year, and that our souls have to find new readiness for. Tonight will be our opportunity to establish that readiness, to use these rituals, these melodies that are so familiar to us, these words that reverberate inside us with special resonance. We're going to use all of it to bring our souls just a little bit closer to the High Holydays, a little bit more ready for Rosh Hashanah, which still is a week and a day away. We still have a little time to get there, but soon, not so long from now. If you'll turn to page 104, you'll find these words. The melody was new last year. The words are familiar to us. Words about teshuvah, about returning. The soulful returning that we do at this season. Attempting to open up our souls to being held by the hand and walked back to the path that we wish for them to traverse. Return again to the land of your soul. Return to who you are. Return to what you are. Return to where you are born and reborn again. Let's start to walk that road. Return again. Return again. Return to the land of your soul. Return again. Return again. Return to the land of your soul. Let's try it again. Return again. Return again. Return to the land of your soul. Return Return to the land of your soul. Return to who you are. Return to what you are. Return to where you are. Born and reborn again. Return again. Return again. Return to the land of your soul. Return again. Return again. Return to the land of your soul. Return to who you are. Return to what you are. Return to where you are. Born and reborn again. Return again. Return again. Return to the land of your soul. Return again. Return again. Return to the land of your soul. With Havdalah, few moments ago, we have made the shift from Shabbat time into a new week. But with the passing of one more week and a day, it will be a new year into which we will emerge. And tonight I find myself marveling, as I usually do on Selichot night, at the swift passage of time. Even in a year that had far too much sameness in too many days because of our lengthy quarantine, or perhaps because the days felt so often too much the same, the time feels almost as if it has evaporated. How is it possible that the year 5781 is already ending? I know that I am hardly unusual in sensing that every passing year seems to move more speedily than the previous one, the older that we become. Why do we, as we age, feel that acceleration in the flow of time? The length of our days is certainly the same. There are those who suggest that the sensation of time speeding up as we grow older can be attributed to the fullness of our lives, as the story becomes richer, fuller, as we've lived a longer, thicker narrative, as we have become busier and life becomes more complex. Days seem almost to disappear in the blur of activity. And so, yes, I'm sure that the fullness of our lives accounts, at least in part, for the sensation of time rushing by. But even as we grow into our senior years and our days become less active, or regardless of our age, when circumstance forces us to become less active as it did this past year, still time feels as if it is accelerating, perhaps even more than it did when we were younger. So how can that be explained? My sense is that the speed of our days is dictated not only by the fullness of our lives, but also by a certain kind of sameness in our lives. Now, that may seem counterintuitive. After all, quarantining to survive the pandemic may have created more sameness inside our own front doors. But this year soon to end was certainly filled with plenty of unique and unforgettable markers on the world scene. This was the Jewish year of the 2020 election, one which stands alone in American history because it remains in dispute by many millions of Americans, no matter how many judges and courts have affirmed that the dispute is baseless. This was the year we saw armed violence upon our nation's capital, attacks against America by people asserting loyalty to America. This was the year when vaccines arrived, revealing so much about humanity, about those who gratefully received them, about those who cut the line on others in order to get them into their arms before those in greater need, about those who trafficked in cynicism by refusing them, prolonging a public health crisis for us all. It was a year of war between Israel and Gaza, and a year in which hatred of Jews all over the world because of that war exploded across the political spectrum. It was the year when 20 long years of war in Afghanistan finally came to an end, and now we prepare for the violence to resume in the aftermath of the deadly terror attack by ISIS before we could even bring all of our troops home. So while there may have been a sameness in our lives when it came to our diminished travel or activity outside our homes, that sameness certainly wasn't in evidence in the newspapers. So what then is the source of this propulsion that pushes time forward, making our days too indistinguishable? I think we know, even though we sometimes deny it, that the sameness is not about our quarantining. The sameness comes from deep within each one of us. As we look upon the year now ending, can any of us honestly say that we changed ourselves as much as the world around us changed. Sadly, we humans have a way of becoming hostages to unfortunate patterns in our lives. The coming High Holydays are perhaps the plainest opportunity to examine those patterns, even to understand them, but they cannot be the moment in which we break free from them. As our great medieval sage Maimonides used to teach, there is no altar of atonement. There remains nothing other than teshuvah, repenting, turning, changing. We know, of course, that the only way to slow the rush of time is to bring unique meaning to every day that we are granted to live, to experience the fullness of each day as we commit our finite reservoir of time to the task of steadily becoming the persons we know we should be. It is a difficult and glorious way to live, with eyes wide open to the passage of time, responsive to the call of each day, instead of being overrun by the lot of them, wondering where they all went. A difficult and glorious way to live. And you can even do it while stuck at home, doing your part to stop the spread of a virus. This is the awakening that this evening of Selichot is supposed to urge. This is the awakening that the sound of the shofar heralds. That the holy days will soon be here is our inspiration to turn. Not then, but now, while there is still time in this year. And you are blessed tonight not to have to face your sameness alone, because we get to do it in the company of companions of the Spirit, people who have surely found answers to some of the specific questions of self that still plague us, just as we demonstrate a set of different and needed answers for them. The encouragement to believe that the answer can be found by having seen another find their way to it. We show each other the way. And with our voices joined together in the familiar words and melodies of the season, we convince each other that we can get there. That's what this exercise is tonight. It is the function of a community in atonement, where there is no altar, where prayers are not enough, but where prayers can lead to honesty and then to recommitment. Now, while there is still time, let this night shine bright, unmasking light on everything that cannot remain the same in our lives. Let us begin together on page 106. The psalmist sang, "At midnight I rise to give thanks and praise." And so we come to this hour of Selichot under the canopy of night to celebrate goodness, to proclaim what is right and true, to praise, to thank, to bless the great giver who gives and renews our lives. We turn to loved ones, to friends, and to our people everywhere, the whole house of Israel. And our hearts turn toward the human family. We pray for its healing. And yet hardest of all is the inward gaze, the return to ourself, the honest reckoning of the soul. Cheshbon hanefesh. Together, we ask how to account for selfish acts, lies, and senseless anger, how to account for the shadows, the storms, the bitterness in our lives, the damage and distress we cause, how to own up to it all and find our way back with integrity in peace. We ask, have we the will to change? And if not now, when? If you're able, please rise.
Hashivenu Adonai Elecha.
On page 109. White butterflies with single black finger paint eyes on their wings dart and settle, eddy and mate, over the green tangle of vines in Labor Day morning steam. The year grinds into ripeness and rot, grapes starketing, pears yellowing, the first Virginia creeper twining crimson, the grasses dry straw to burn. The new year rises, beckoning across the umbrellas on the sand. I begin to reconsider my life. What is the yield of my impatience? What is the fruit of my resolve? I turn from my frantic white dance over the jungle of productivity, and slowly a nigun slides, cold water down my throat. I rest on a leaf spotted red. Now is the time to let the mind search backwards like the raven loosened to see what can feed us. Now, the time to cast the mind forward, to chart an aerial map of the months. The new year is a great door that stands across the evening, and Yom Kippur is the second door. Between them are song and silence, stone and clay pot to be filled from within myself. I will find there both ripeness and rot, what I have done and undone, what I must let go with the waning days, and what I must take in. With the last tomatoes, we harvest the fruit of our lives. The following prompts on page 110 are meant to guide you in personal reflection. What is the nature of my cheshbon hanefesh this year? What should be my focus as I examine my deeds and my direction from now until Yom Kippur? What is unresolved in my heart? What questions are on my mind? What is unclear, uncertain, and unsettled in my life? What decisions have I been putting off or avoiding? Is there one change I would like to make in the way I am living my life and relating to other people? When I look over my accounts, what do I see? Which personal qualities need repair and strengthening? What habits of mind, character, and behavior need correction? And which relationships in my life are most challenging at this time? With God watching over us as we engage in our inner work, we are called by these words of forgiveness on page 111.
Shomer, Shomer Yisrael, Shemor Sherit Yisrael. Shomer, Shomer Yisrael, Shemor Sherit Yisrael. Ve'al Yovad Yisrael, Ve'al Yovad Yisrael HaOmerim. HaOmerim Shema Yisrael. HaOmerim Shema Yisrael. Shomer Goy Echad, Shemor Sherit Echad. Shomer Goy Echad, Shemor Sherit Echad. Ve'al Yovad Goy Echad, Ve'al Yovad Goy Echad. Ham Yachadim, Shimcha Adonai Eloheinu. Ham Yachadim, Shimcha Adonai Echad.
A ship cannot make its way through the seas without a compass, and we cannot make our way through life without being asked at the turn of each and every year, Ayeka, where are you? That question and our answer create the moral agenda for our work in the year ahead. If I do not focus on the purpose, what is the point of my life? Ki ata Adonai tov v'salach v'rav chesed lechol korecha. Depth of goodness, fount of forgiveness. All of us need your compassion. When I'm praying, when I'm desperate, listen to me, answer me. When I call you in my trouble, enfold me in your love. We continue with words of Or Zarua. We continue on page 113. We are taught days are scrolls. Write them only what you want remembered. But we remember our weakness, and our days bear the mark of all that went wrong. On this night, we have hope in the one who sustains us. Together, though we stumble and falter, you promise forgiveness. If we stray from the truth, you do not forsake us. If we sink to the depths, your mercy uplifts us. If our urges betray us, your compassion is endless. If we distance ourselves, you do not disdain us. If we abandon your teachings, still you embrace us. If we seek you sincerely, your presence surrounds us. If we pray from the heart, you listen with yours. Though we stumble and falter, we are blessed by your promise.
Don't hide your face from me. I'm asking for your help. I call to you, please hear my prayers, oh God. If you would answer me as I have called to you, please hear me now. Don't hide your face from me. Don't hide your face from me. I'm asking for your help. I call to you, please hear my prayers, oh God. If you would answer me as I have called to you, please hear me now. Don't hide your face from me. If you would answer me as I have called to you, please hear me now. Don't hide your face from me. Please hear me now. Don't hide your face from me. Please hear me now. Don't hide your face from me.
We read responsively on page 114. Master of wonders, mother of souls, forgive the darkness in our hearts, our loss of hope. Pardon our distraction, our ears closed to the pleas of the poor, and lead us to atonement.
Master of wonders, mother of souls, forgive us our circles of secrecy, knots of guilt, shame, and anger, webs of betrayal and greed. Pardon the pursuit of happiness that ends in worship of self. Lead us to atonement.
Master of wonders, mother of souls, refuse to forgive our refusal to forgive. Release our grudges, hatreds, and feuds, puncture our stubborn self-righteousness, and lead us to atonement.
Master of wonders, mother of souls, forgive our vanity in a universe of awe, our complacency in a universe of need. Pardon our failure to thank, praise, and salute every soul and every star, and lead us to atonement.
Master of wonders, mother of souls, forgive us our disregard and insolence, our distance from loved ones and friends. Pardon our daily inattentiveness, our failure to notice what we fail to notice, and lead us to atonement. I have been thinking a lot about the notion of hiding. And in the beautiful song that we just sang, inspired by the psalmists, we heard a few moments ago, we were pleading with God not to hide from us. And then in our Torah portion a few weeks ago in Ki Tetzeh, the text says, Lo tuchal lahit alem, which is using a reflexive verb to mean don't hide from yourself. And in this instance, the text is describing a particular law for returning lost property, and that if we see something, we are obligated not to ignore it, because doing so, hiding from our responsibility, is indeed hiding from ourselves. And then finally, I always go back to another text that was referenced in previous readings on the High Holydays about our origin story in the Garden of Eden. Adam and Eve, as we know, eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil and become aware of their nakedness. They're exposed, perhaps not just physically, but also spiritually. And so when God asks them, Ayaka, where are you? Their response is to hide. And they hide from their shame in the face of God. These depictions of hiding lead me to consider the inner work that we engage in during this sacred season as a process of uncovering our hideouts, the ways in which we hide from others, yes, but even more important, the ways in which we hide from ourselves. And in doing so, how we obscure the brightness, the gifts that we are meant to share with the world. We're calling out to something bigger than ourselves to respond to our agony and to just give us some kind of tangible sign that you're with us. But perhaps we're also calling out to ourselves to relinquish our hiding places, wherever and with whomever they may be. And perhaps it is these moments when we most want to hide, when we feel that urge that's in us. Maybe these are the times when we possess actually the most to gain and the most to learn. And so as we move into some time for silent reflection, and as we ask God to stop hiding from us, I want to invite us to also take some time to consider, in what ways do you hide? How do you want or need to challenge that impulse in you and to show up for God, for others, and also for ourselves in this new year? We pause for some time for silent reflection.
page 115. As parents show tenderness to their children, may you show mercy to those who worship you. Like the heavens that tower above the earth, your love is powerful for those who revere you. Liberation is a gift from God, a blessing upon your people. You are the God of all we can perceive, our haven, the God of Yaakov. And you are the God of all that is beyond our perception. The one who has faith in you is fortunate. Show us the way to freedom. On the day we call you, answer us with strength. Together. Hear my cry, God. Listen to my prayer. From the ends of the earth I call you. When my heart is faint, lead me to the rock that is higher than I. Forgive me, my God, for I spilled my life like unclean water upon the earth. Forgive me for all my wounds I caused with my own hands, and yet, sobbing like a defeated child, I cried out to you that you, my God, might bandage them. Shivchi chamayim libech, and pour out your hearts like water. Pour out your hearts and remember. On page 119. Notice the river at break of dawn. A breed of streams, creeks, and brooks, a dance of insects near the shore. Notice how brackish, where the river meets the sea, how with grace the river hugs the shore, fierce in its rising, fiercer when it falls. Notice it all, how it bends, how it tells the time of year, and how smooth the boulders are that guide its course. Notice the Holy One in blessing and in beauty, in acts of repair, in the unearthing of truth, in eyes that meet, in the tumult of change, in words of forgiveness, in the bridges we build to those we hurt, in the flow of a year, in the course of a journey, in rising and falling, in the bend of a river, in the hand we hold to those who hurt us, in the life we are living, in blessing and in beauty. Please rise. Page 124. Soul of eternity, my strength, my song, where will I find you? Your place is a mystery far away. But where will I not find you? Your glory fills the world. I sought your nearness. I called you with all my heart. And when I went out to find you, I found you coming toward me. Breathless, I witnessed your power, and in holiness, I gazed.
Shalom, Rav Yisrael, Amcha Tasim, Leolam. Shalom, Rav Yisrael, Sefer Hayim, Beracha v'shalom, Beracha v'shalom, u'parnasa tova, Beracha v'shalom, nizacher v'nikater lefanecha, Anachnu b'chol
In a moment, in preparation for our vidui, our confession, we will read, "Let our hearts be open to self-reckoning, and may we grasp how vital to our lives is tshuva." This work of tshuva, the process of returning to our best self, necessitates truth-telling and clarity of heart. While few of us enjoy an unvarnished viewing of our individual and collective broken bits, the places we fall short, they are there. Our ability to truly see them, seek forgiveness, and change our lives is an essential element of the human project and the Jewish project. In the Talmud, it is written, Rabbi Hoshaya said, "Anything created in the first 6 days of creation needs further action." For example, mustard seeds need sweetening. Peas need sweetening. Wheat needs grinding. Even humans need fixing. Afilu Adam tzarich tikkun. Even humans need tikkun, fixing. A first step on the journey to this fixing is inviting a productive disruption, a productive rupture. We often associate rupture with negativity, a loss of trust or a physical breach in a vessel. But to create a space for us to confront what needs to be mended, this metaphor of cracking our figurative protective shell reminded me of biology class, somewhere in the hinterlands of my mind, and the story of what happens when a seed germinates. Picture a vulnerable little seed, packed with possibility. That is you. That is us. For germination to occur, all the proper variables need to be in place: water, oxygen, the right temperature, light, darkness. Then, miraculously, the seed coat absorbs enough water, causing it to swell and rupture. It is a productive rupture, one that cracks the external shell of the seed. After the rupture, the first sign of life comes from the radicle, a little white tail that eventually becomes the primary root of the plant. The role of the radicle is to anchor the plant in the ground and start absorbing water. Once it absorbs water, a rudimentary stem emerges and the first leaves start to unfurl, often taking the seed coat with them as they rise above the soil. Afilu Adam tzarich tikkun. Even humans need tikkun, fixing. Tonight, we contribute to the process of creating the right environment that each of us needs to crack open, even just a little bit more, to allow for new growth, to invite in the nutrients we need to reroot ourselves and flourish. We join together for the vidui at the top of page 127. Together. As the days of awe near, we reach for the infinite. Mindful of our frailty, we seek the holy. Despite our mortality, we carry within us the Ancient of Days. Despite loneliness within, we sense that we belong to a single soul, a spirit that fills the entire universe. Let us find in that universal spirit a new source of strength and significance, more compassion, more generosity, more gratitude for life. Let us hearts be open to self-reckoning, and may we grasp how vital to our lives is tshuva, the path of return. On this night of forgiveness, we confess our wrongs and take account of sins, failures of judgment, weakness of will. The hour is late, our need to be forgiven profound. Our God and God of all generations, may our prayers reach your presence. And when we turn to you, do not be indifferent. Adonai, we are arrogant and stubborn, claiming to be blameless and free of sin. In truth, we have stumbled and strayed. We have done wrong. Together we confess. Together we take responsibility.
Shema Koleinu Adonai Eloheinu Chus v'rachem Aleinu Shema Koleinu Adonai Eloheinu Chus v'rachem Aleinu V'kabel v'rachamim u'v'ratzon et tefilateinu Ki ashomea tefilot v'tachanunim ata Shema Koleinu Adonai Eloheinu Chus v'rachem Aleinu Shema Koleinu Adonai Eloheinu Chus v'rachem Aleinu Teshuvah begins with a turn from the external world toward the inner realm of the heart. Often that means to be still for a moment as the heart begins to disclose itself. It is our task during these days to listen and to also say, Hineni, here I am present. I am listening. In the deepest part of us, we admit our shortcomings and where we didn't live up to our best self. What did I not like about myself last year? Who do I need to say I'm sorry to before these holy days end. Yet these are also days of commitment and reimagining to a newer self and maybe a better self. Who can I be this year? How can I bring my intention to my words and my actions? It is customary in this next prayer to beat our chests with each wrongdoing that we recite, a way of expressing our accountability. But there's also a lilting and happy chorus that reminds us of who we can aspire to be in the year to come, and our commitment to hearing that voice guide us there. From the words of Rabbi Elisha ben Abuya, the words of prayer are in my mouth, the wrongs I commit are on my mind, the yearning in my heart to make things right breathes within me as I awaken my soul.
Hashamnu Magadnu Gazalnu Dibarnu Dofi Hevinu Vehirshanu Zadnu Hamasnu Tafalnu Shaker Yahatznura Kizavnu Latznu Maradnu Nihatznu Saranu Avinu Pashanu Saranu Kishinu Ore Ashanu Shichatnu Tiavnu Tainu Titanu Let us read this litany of sin together. We abused and abandoned. We acted without thinking. We blamed others when we failed. We boasted and belittled. We coveted and corrupted. We coerced the weak to do our will. We drove away those we love with silence. We deceived and denied. We enticed and enslaved. We exalted money and material goods. We fouled air, sea, and land. We flattered and falsified. We gravitated to those who gossip. We gave up our ideals and gave in to our impulses. We hated and humiliated. We held grudges and refused to forgive. We ignored and idolized. We insisted that we were right. We judged others rashly and wrongly. We were jealous and unjust. We killed. We were knowingly unkind. We kept to ourselves in the face of need. We lacked commitment to causes we espoused. We were lazy and we lied. We missed the mark and minimized our mistakes. We mocked what we did not understand. We neglected those who depend on us. We were negative and narcissistic. We overreached and overreacted, too often erupting in outbursts of anger. We poisoned and polluted. We perverted truth for personal gain. We quelled the voice of conscience within us. We quit too soon and quarreled too often. We ridiculed and resented. We refused to accept help. We rationalized our failings and our flaws. We spurned the wisdom of our tradition. We squabbled and scorned. We talked too much or not enough. We traumatized our children with anger. We issued ultimatums and made ugly threats. We uttered untruths and undermined with cynicism. We were vain and vicious. We vilified foreigners and strangers. We wasted time, strength, and talent. We wallowed in self-pity, wished but did not act. We exploited and expropriated. We expected others to save the world. We yearned too much for prizes and praise. We failed to share fully in the joy of Zion reborn.
The ways we have wronged, we under duress and by choice. The harm we have caused in your world, deliberately and by mistake. The ways we have wronged you openly and secretly. The harm we have caused in your world, consciously and unconsciously. The ways we have wronged you by hating without cause. The harm we have caused in your world through gossip and rumor. The ways we have wronged you through a selfish or petty spirit. The harm we have caused in your world by hardening our hearts.
For all these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement.
Ve'al kulam Elo Selichot Selach lanu mechalanu kapelanu.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha. Together, we stray and we sin. When we fail to make peace the highest good, and when we are silent in the face of evil, when we forsake those who suffer far away, and when we shun the wronged and destitute among us, when we diminish God's image through violence or indifference, and when we fail to take care of those who depend on us, when we engage in slander or deceit, and when we distort the truth for personal gain, when we judge others rashly or unfairly, and when we stoke the fires of communal strife, when we fail to embrace Torah, the tree of life, to walk its paths and make its ways our own, we stray and we sin. When we offer no blessings, no words of thanks for the breath within us and for the wonder of being. For all these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement.
Ve'al kulam Elo Selichot Selach lanu mechalanu kapelanu.
page 138. Walk with me into the woods. Leave the edge of the forest behind. Come deep into the green until the shafts of sunlight are lost. Feel the stillness of the center. Walk with me to the top of the hill. Leave the broad path behind. Up beyond where the trees grow. Hear the quiet of the heights. Walk me into this new year, into its demands, into its joys, into the clamor of its unfolding. Walk alone, each of us, on our own right path, with the echoes of the blasts of the shofar, with the stillness of the center, with the help of our God. I want to invite you all to stand if you're able, as we conclude our prayer this evening with the familiar words, melody, and inner rumblings of Avinu Malkeinu, page 141.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Chamol aleinu. Ve'olol aleinu, v'tapeinu. Avinu Malkeinu, kale dever, v'cherev v'rav, me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, kale chotzar umastim me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, כותבנו בספר חיים טובים. אבינו מלכנו, חדש עלינו, חדש עלינו, שנה טובה. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chadesh aleinu, Shana Tova. Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu, Shema Koleinu, Shema Tkiya Gedolah.
Shavua Tov.